It's another late night because I'm actually finding that it's much easier to do my art late at night because everyone's sleeping. In this case, everyone's sleeping includes our unofficial mascot. She's out. She's out cold in there. Peekaboo. So I'm sure my regulars have noticed that I didn't post anything this past week other than an art my makeup. Y'all have to just give me a little bit of a grace period here. I've got things that I'm struggling with. They're not serious yet, but we had the snow and that kind of knocked me out. I'm sensitive to weather, so I've had some weather issues, and there's just been other things that have been going on, and none of them by themselves are anything to be concerned about, but combined, it's kind of knocked me out this past week a little bit. We will get back to our content as planned. At least I'm planning to get back to the content as planned. I just I needed space this week. So, but my art I really love doing, so it is not hard to do that. It is close to or after midnight, and that freeway is still busy. I think it's one of the major things I don't like about where we live right now. I mean, there's always going to be sounds of traffic wherever we would live down in Georgia, if only because of our, we're not rich. We can't go and find a cool place and have it away from all the traffic, which would be hard to find down here anyway, but without being out in the boondocks, which is equally unpleasant to me. But yeah, I'm living right next to a freeway is a little harder than living elsewhere. So, and I think living like in the main cities of like Kennesaw or Atlanta, or just the main city areas is even probably pretty noisy through the night too. At any rate, I did do some work on my own. I went and did some more work on the cap, and I'm pretty happy with it now. My veins in there are not so shiny. I tried to delopside my flower a little bit. It's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. I think I managed to get it to looking a little bit less bottom heavy. A little bit, not a lot. And we're going to be hopefully when it's done it'll look even less bottom heavy, but I suspect it will always be bottom heavy. It is just that it's just drawn that way. It is like a certain cartoon siren. I'm just drawn that way. Yeah, so this is just drawn that way. That's on me, but I'm not mad at it. And tonight I'm just gonna try to get some more of this pink in, and then my plan is to start doing my veining over here. We are almost to the birds, folks. Birds. It is a singular bird, but we are getting there. We are getting there. So, One of the things, like I was mentioning last week, was the snow. Snow in Atlanta isn't necessarily uncommon. I think we've gotten, at least one pretty good snow since I've started living here, every year since I've got started living here. There's been a few years it's skipped, but most years I would say 6 to 8 of the years we've been here, there's been at least one snow. And it's usually a very light snow. There was snowpocalypse from a few years back. I mentioned that in our last video, where people, here were freaking out because they don't know how to drive in snow, because they get one, usually half an inch of snow, maybe, that fades by the next day. And that year, I think it was an inch to an inch and a half, 2 inches, something like that. And everything shut down, and nobody knew what they were doing. And Home Depot had to open up because people were getting stuck in traffic that didn't know how to handle the snow. I think I mentioned that my husband managed to make it home, for which I was grateful. But yeah, that was like the last time we had anything major. This year, this last storm that came through. So I think this time we actually got what I would consider a decent amount of snow. Still nothing like the feet that I used to, in places that I've lived in the past. But it was 3 or 4 inches. And the city did close down. I mean, for the most part, people were sent home. My daughter went to work, came back. Within 20 minutes, she was sent home. I don't think my husband even had to go out the door. I told you about all that. And when I told you about all that, that snow was actually still on the ground. It stayed on the ground for 2 days. But Atlanta recovered, and the next day, my daughter and husband had to go to work. So they have determined, so it looks like Atlanta, they have determined that they are capable of dealing with snow now, which I find highly amusing, because they really were not capable before. And here they get a few more inches. But like I said, there were snow plows, and they didn't have those before. I think they had only a couple plows, but they had some plows, and they had gotten some salters and things like that helped. But even so, the snow was gone by, I say it snowed on Friday. The snow was gone by Monday, I think. It was pretty much, if not completely gone, mostly gone. I mean, it just disappeared pretty quickly, honestly. All right, so I've already sprayed this. I'm going to start with a longer end, and then I'll probably move to something like this when I'm doing the smaller parts. But right now I want to do the long lines of this veining. This is going to be weird. It's going to look weird to me, but you can see these long lines of veining, and then there's lots of other little veining in there. I don't know how much of the little veining will show, but we're going to try to do these long lines of veining. Welcome to me freaking out a little bit. I also have to look at them because once these are down, they are down. I wonder if I could pencil them in first. Probably should. Only because I'm really nervous about this. All right, I'm going to grab a pencil because I'm really nervous about this. have to say that one of the things that is kind of nice about working with the makeup is it's really easy to draw over it if you need to. Okay, I don't want to. These brushes, okay, this is not doing it for me. Kept a few of those in the hope that they would prove useful at some point. They're not proving that useful. And I think this one is going to be a little too wide. So I have to be very careful about how I apply this. The other thing of note about these brushes is they tend to be inconsistent. Some tend to be thinner, some tend to be thicker, some tend to be really soft, others tend to be stiffer. So it's harder to find what I'm looking for. I feel like I'm fighting a little bit. Now when I get done with this veining, I intend to go over with color again. Make them a little less stark, but I will probably do that off camera. I actually did some work today off camera. As I told you, I tweaked around with my cap and I'm very happy with it. I need to take time to do that because doing all of it on camera takes some of the joy out. Not a lot, but there's that pressure. If you're in the arts, you probably know what I'm talking about. That's pressure to get it exactly right. Exactly right. And it's hard to do that sometimes when you feel like you're being watched all the time. All right, so you guys remember when I said that I got rid of all the brushes that I didn't think I'd be using? That includes these fine tips, which I don't use for my eyes. I don't use the right kind of eyeliner for them to really work well. And they're just too narrow for me, but they might work for this. After having done all that there, I'm going to pick one of these and see how we go. A couple of them are very soft. Some of them are firm. When I went downstairs, I woke the baby up. Hi. No, you can't play with that. What are you doing? Anyway, some of them are a little wider and broader, but some of them, this one's probably too soft. Can you get back a little bit, sweetheart? Please? Yipes! That one's probably too soft for much of anything. That one might be a bit too soft too. I just want to add another one over here just a minute ago. You're distracting me, kitten. No, you cannot have that either. Punk. Hey, you smooched. You got it on your paws and you smooched. Okay, I need you. Hey, no bitey. Get back. Damn, she got some of that dark green right there on her paw. Little pumpkin. Okay, I'm struggling with the splotchiness. You guys can see where it's kind of splotching a bit. What are you doing? Stay right over there. Stay right over there. I've already made it so I have to clean something up. Ooh. No. Kitten, stop. Stop. Okay, the problem here is it's splitting. I trimmed. I tried to trim. All right, let's try again. Really debating if maybe these should be done in pen. I really am trying to use as much makeup as possible when doing the things. I'm just struggling with this. I need to find... I suspect the only way this would really work is if I had a eyeliner in the right color, which I don't. Maybe I could just use this long brush for these longer edges. Y'all get to watch the struggle in real time. But anyway, use this longer brush for these edges. Longer edges. And then use the tiny brush to get my curves. So I think my feeling on fine point lines like that in the future is to just go ahead and use a pen. I have been describing my art as multimedia. It relies primarily on the makeup. But that doesn't mean it has to be all makeup. I just really was really hoping that I could, use the makeup for that. I don't think I've ruined it. I'm going to cover all that up like I did up here when I was testing out anyway. I just was hoping that that would work out better than it did. So, yeah. A little disappointed. A lot disappointed. Quite a bit disappointed. I don't know if this is the right color or close. Oh, this is the right color. Close too, anyway. So I can fix some of these lines that are just kind of all over the place. Next thing I have to start doing is building up some of the color over those lines. I mean, well, yeah, I need to build up that color a little bit. I'll probably end up doing most of this when I'm not filming. I just want to get some of this correction in here now. I might use one of my lighter color pens to go over that. I'm definitely going to use a lighter color pen to do all the smaller veining. Inside. So we are in the second section part of our last session. I have figured out a few ways to save things. Purple marks. Someone stepped in the purple. You all can guess. So I went over everything with a white eyeliner and then redid it with, went over it again, over the white liner and everything with more makeup. I have my pens picked out to do my lines. And that's what I'm mostly going to focus on at the end of this session. As you can see, I got some of that done. I wanted to see if it would work. The one thing about working here while I'm filming is I can't really make mistakes. I mean, I make mistakes, but I make them kind of live with you guys. So the corrections I have to kind of figure out, usually offline, and do them myself. I mean, you know, alone. But the other thing I've discovered is that having that time to do my own thing, I also went over a little bit of it with another pen, to do my own thing is actually helpful for me. I feel a little less pressure to make sure everything is quote unquote perfect. I mean, we all know it's not going to be perfect, right? But when you're on screen, it is harder to ignore that whole feeling that things need to be perfect. I have learned a couple of things in the last session we had. The first was, if it's a fine line, stick with the fine pens. The second was, listen to your instincts. My instincts told me that using the makeup, the eyeliner or whatever, was going to be a bit of a problem. And I chose to kind of ignore that. This has been on a lot of, it's struggling because of being on the makeup a bit longer. Anyway, as I was saying, to follow my instincts when I'm aware that something might be a problem in terms of doing the things that I want to do on the paper. And I was worried about that makeup being an issue. I'm doing it the way I did it with the makeup. In the end, when it comes to these really fine, it's so light over here you don't see much. When it comes to these really fine lines that honestly kind of need to be more thinner and more precise, using the makeup is not a good idea. Essentially, that's what it comes down to. So I'm going to work on finishing off some of this. I will be working to do more fading of these lines with the makeup later, but I am thinking if I do this right and just get this part all done, that the next session we can get into the bird. Maybe I'll just do these lower petals on my own as well. It's kind of hard in this area particularly because this whole area here is sort of washed out. So it's hard to imply something is washed out. Okay. So I'm going to focus on getting these lines done right now. Get into our bird next week, so I'm going to try to work on some of this lower stuff. You saw how the fading faded out some of those lines. It's not perfect, it'll never be perfect, but I'm going to work more on that offline. But I think we want to get some of this taken care of. This is too wide. I always pick out the one that's too wide first. I don't know why. I don't know why. I think it's because I want to get coverage down very quickly. Anyways, so we're going to try to get these bottom petals colored in so we can get to our, and then I'll do all the rest of the fading offline so that we can get to our bird next week. That'll be nice. I do intend to get more videos up. I hope you will be patient, as this week is going to be tough, and last week was a little bit on the tough side too. Maybe we'll talk about that in our next notes from home. But yeah, just want to keep it short and show you that I did do some correcting and figuring some things out, and I've learned a few lessons. A few? Some. We have some learned. And I wanted to finish out the video I started because I was very aware that I didn't quite finish that one out. And now I can say it's finished out to a degree, right? Y'all looking forward to me working on the bird. Hopefully I won't screw it up as much as I've screwed up this flower. Y'all. Oh. Alrighty. So yeah, I'm really starting to have trouble with my knee. At any rate, I hope you like what you've seen and that you will go ahead and do all the YouTubey things. We're going to go ahead and just cut this short and say that I hope you'll go ahead and like and subscribe. I can talk. And comment down below. And we shall see you all later. Bye.